Good afternoon, guys. This is Rahul Mohure, Assistant Professor, Department of Management Technology, Shri Ramdev Baba College of Engineering and Management. Again, welcome you back to the last two sessions of this FDP. This being fifth day and the last session, we are having this two parts. We have made this video lessons into two parts. The first part will deal with the interpretive structural modeling itself, means the theory, the concept, everything. On the second part, we have taken a real case study and we will see how interpretive structural modeling is being used to get an answer or to get a solution for a particular real world problem. So interpretive structural modeling, it is a well established methodology for identifying relationship among specific items which define a problem or an issue. This approach has been increasingly used by various researchers to represent interrelationship among various elements related to the issue. In generally, it is felt that the individuals or group encounter difficulties in dealing with complex issues or systems. The complexity of the issue or system is due to the process of large number of elements and interactions among these elements. The presence of directly or indirectly related element complicates the structure of the system, which may or may not be articulated in a clear fashion. It becomes difficult to deal with the system in which structure is not clearly defined. Hence, it becomes necessary for the development of a methodology which aids in identifying a structure within a system. Interpretive structural modeling is such a methodology. The interpretive structural modeling, or ISM, is aimed at assisting the human being to better understand what he or she believes and to recognize clearly what he or she does not know. The ISM process transforms very unclear and poorly articulated mental models of a system into visible and well-defined model. When I am saying about the mental model, it means that let us consider that we want to purchase a or rather we have taken that example into the MCDM technique. Now let us consider that we being teachers and our students are there, we want to identify the intelligent quotient of a student. Then the characteristics that we can identify or the variables that we can identify, we want to identify the relationship among these variables, which variable sits at which hierarchy and how that is influencing to calculate the the intelligent quotient. Means maybe the family background, maybe the parents education, maybe their interest, maybe the student interest, maybe whatever, means there are n number of variables. So all those variables come to our mind and that sets up a mental model for us, and that mental model will leads to a particular decision making kind of thing. So why we need to identify all those variables which are there into the mental model, and we need to construct a decisive model for that, so that we could reach to a particular stage of information or for a decision making, that these are the variables which are influencing this particular variable, or this 1 2 3 4 variables can be used to achieve this first variable or second variable, and the levels of the variables should be like this. So all these things will be there into the interpretive structural modeling. It's an interactive learning process. In this technique, a set of different directly or indirectly related elements are structured into a comprehensive systematic model. The model so form portrays a structure of a complex issue or a problem in a carefully designated or designed pattern, implying the graphics as well as words. Once the output will be like we will be having a diagram wherein we will be having a clear picture that how the variables are placed, which variable is used to achieve which variable, or rather which variable is related to which variable. Everything will be depicted into that graph, so that will be the best possible outcome in the interpretive structural modeling. It is a well established methodology for identifying a relationship among the specific elements, which defines a problem or an issue. But when it comes to a complex problem, for any complex problem under consideration, there may be number of factors which are related to an issue or a problem. However, the direct and the indirect relationship between the factors describes the situation far more accurately than the individual factors taken into consideration in terms of isolation. So, ISM develops insights into collective understanding of these relationships. So how that is, so it is a process majorly, means if we want to consider the highlight of this, or if you want to showcase the highlight of this ISM model, so it is just one thing to remember is that it is a process that transforms unclear and poorly articulated mental model of a system into a visible and well-defined models which are useful for many purposes. It is a computer assisted interactive learning process whereby structural models are produced and studied. When we say ISM, means the model should be interpretive, the model should be structural, and there should be a modeling technique. So when I say interpretive, so interpretive means it is from the fact that as a judgment of the group decides whether and how the variables are related, means it should be interpretive in a way that if 5 or 6 people are sitting together, they are discussing a complex issue, and they should felt or by their own mutual consensus they should decide that these are the variable which are leading to achieve this particular variable. So this is how the interpretive way can be find it out. Then it is a structural, as on the basis of relationship an overall structure is extracted from the complex set of variable, means we could define the structure. And when it comes to model, it means that we can present it in the form of diagram, which is the outcome of the ISM model, wherein we are identifying the specific relationship. And if in general, if 3 variables are there, A, B and C, if A is related to B and B is related to C, if we came to know that, then we will definitely say that A is somewhat related to C or A is related to C. So that is the transitivity of relation. We can also portray that into our diagram. So this is how the 3 words are related to: interpretive, then structural, and then modeling. In a nutshell, means if you want to represent or if you want to remember, interpretive means we interpret, judge and decide relationship between the variables. Structural means we can transform complex structure into a simplified one. Modeling, it means that the structure so formed can be represented by a specific model or a diagram. Now, interpretive structural modeling, it is a qualitative tool that was first proposed by J.N. Warfield in 1976 to analyze the complex socio-economic system. It transfers unclear, poorly articulated mental model of a system into a visible, well-defined hierarchical model. It is a well-known methodology for identifying and summarizing relationships among specific elements which define an issue or a problem, and provides a means by which an order can be imposed on the complexity of such elements. This all the things will be more clear when we are going to complete an example, or we are going to implement all these things with respect to an example. So all the things will be more clear into that. So ISM is a computer assisted learning process. You can use computer to get the diagram, you can use the computer to get the path matrix, you can get the computer, or you can use the computer to find out the reachability matrix, you can use the computer to find out the relationship among the variables. So everything can be computed by using computer only. And the basic idea is to use experts practical experience and knowledge to decompose a complicated system into several subsystems and construct a multi-level structural model. So here, whenever we will be completing with ISM modeling, we will be having a diagram, or we will be having a diagram wherein there are a multiple level, and the structural model will be developed by using multiple level, means which variable are sitting at which level and which variable are contributing to achieve a next variable. So this this will be either a top-down approach or a bottom-up approach. It's up to us that how we are going to build that particular model. So this is a multi-level structural model. So it has been used from last 25 years to understand the complex situation and find out solution to complex problem. It is often used to provide a fundamental understanding of complex situation, as well as to put together a course of action for solving a problem. It can be used for identifying and summarizing relationship among specific variables which define a problem or an issue. So why somebody should use ISM? So various researchers have used ISM for various application, which is I have summarized it into the following points. So to capture the authors Raj and Shankar in 2007 has captured the complexities of real life problem and establishes the lead to relationship among the criteria. Thakkar and Associates in 2006 provides an ordered directional framework for complex problems. Ravi and Shankar in 2005 applied ISM for getting the higher ability of capturing dynamic complexities and gives decision maker a realistic picture of their situation and variables involved. Warfield in 1974, the one who have developed this method, has used the ISM process to transform unclear, poorly articulated system into visible and well defined model. So if you just want to remember what exactly the ISM is, the first thing that we should remember is that it is a qualitative research technique. It is not a quantitative research technique. Then some variable which are not captured by any of the statistical model. Then to breach this gap, we can use the ISM. Means you might have heard about the structural equation modeling. Structural equation modeling is a quantitative technique wherein we start with the factor analysis, then we load the factor, we calculate the factor load, and then we used to draw a graph wherein we call it as the structural equation modeling. So there might be a case that some factors might undergone missed or might have not considered, just because in factor loading we use some factors which are above considered to be having value above than the benchmark factor load value, but in that case we miss some factors. But when it comes to interpretive structural modeling, we consider almost all the factors which are into consideration for defining the complex problem and the issue that is under consideration. So it summarizes the relationship among specific variables, defining causality, that which variable leads to which variable or which variable can be achieved from which variable. So this is how we can find it out, and we can summarizes that relationship. Then applications of ISM are of philosophical in nature, means it doesn't have the rigid implementation kind of thing that this is the only way, this is the benchmark value, if you cross this value then this may happen, if you won't reach to this particular value it may not happen, something like this. It's not happening into this. It's a purely philosophical nature, but it is a new trend. People are writing very good papers into this, and a lot of research work has been going on this method. So means this have the characteristics. Means if we talk about the characteristics of ISM, then this methodology is interpretive, as the judgment of group decides whether and how the different elements are related. It becomes structural on the basis of a mutual relationship, and overall structure is extracted from the complex set of element. It is a modeling technique, as the specific relationship and overall structure are portrayed in a digraph model. We'll be having a digraph after the ISM method is being applied. Means the final outcome will be that digraph, which will show that which variable is sitting at which level and which variable is used to achieve another variable. This means it's a kind of graphical model, or more specifically we can call it as a directed graph, which appears to satisfy this requirement. In such a representation, the elements or components of a system are represented by the points which can be treated as a variable of the digraph, and the existence of a particular relationship between element will be indicated by the presence of directed lines line segment or a dotted line segment. Directed line means direct relationship, and the dotted line means the transitive kind of relationship. Just we have discussed that if A is related to B and B is related to C, then definitely A is related to C. But since A and C doesn't have a directed relationship or a direct relationship, it becomes a transitive relationship, and hence we will depict it by using a dotted line or dashed line into the digraph. So in this it is a concept of relatedness in the context of a particular relationship which distinguishes a system from a mere aggregation of the component. So if we want to portray the entire flow diagram of for preparing the ISM, it can be done by using this thing. Means first I will show you the diagram, then we will go with the steps, that which steps will be required. So you have to means if you are dealing with a particular problem or a complex issue, then as we all are researcher or we all are teachers, we know that we start with the literature review, and from the literature review we came to know what are the list of factors. Means for this diagram and for this presentation I am giving the credit to Rajesh sir and Vivek Sharma sir. Rajesh Attari sir, Nikhil Dev sir and Vivek Sharma sir, they had presented their paper in February 2013 from which this model was taken. It is from interpretive structural modeling approach. You can refer this paper also, it is present on web, and you can use this paper also. So from literature review, we find out or we jot down the list of factors that are related to an issue. Then by the group discussion or by means taking opinion from the expert, we identify the or we establish the contextual relationship between the variables. Means if we are having 10 variables, then we identify that who 10 variables are and what relationship they share with each other. Then we develop a self-structural matrix, self-interactional interaction matrix. Then we develop a reachability matrix. Then we partition the reachability matrix into different level. Then we develop a reachability matrix in conical form. Then develop the digraph and removing the transitivity from the graph. Means if it is there, then replace the variable nodes by the relationship statement. And is there any conceptual inconsistency? If it is yes, then again we take an opinion from the expert, and again the same process will follow. If not, then the ISM modeling is being done and our structure is ready for interpretation. So this is the concept, or this is the flow diagram for preparing ISM model. So if we are dealing with the ISM model, construction of the ISM model, means there are many steps which are involved while constructing the ISM model. Since the methodology was proposed by Warfield, Warfield developed a methodology that uses systematic application of some elementary notation of graph theory as well as the Boolean algebra in such a way that when implemented in a man-machine interactive mode, theoretical, conceptual and computational leverage is exploited to construct a directed graph. This methodology has at least two desirable property when compared to the similar approaches, namely simplicity in the sense of not requiring from the user's point of view of advanced mathematical logic, and the efficiency in terms of economizing the computer time. The people who are from mathematics background, or those who have learned a little about discrete mathematics and the graph theory, then it will be very easy for them to understand this method and the modeling, because it's quite very easy for them to get the notation and to find out how the things have been placed into this ISM. So ISM begins, means the interpretive structural modeling, means why we are going to learn interpretive structural modeling, because we want to convert the poor and very unclearly articulated problem into the rigid one. This is our main motto. With respect to this, what we need to identify, what all are the variables which shall be considered, which variables are related to which variable, how we can identify that one particular variable is achieved with by the virtue of other variables. So these are the complex relationships that we need to identify. Once we are done with this, what is the aim of ISM? ISM's aim, or interpretive structural modeling's aim, is to convert this poorly articulated problem into a decent one, which will be quite very easy to read, to interpret, to understand, and to make some kind of decision. Since we have already discussed that the decisions will based on this particular model will be of philosophical nature, means it doesn't give any benchmark value that this particular value is achieved, then this output will be there, or if you won't achieve this particular value, then this may happen or this may not happen. Means it will not be like this. Means we should remember this kind of thing while proposing or while using the ISM technique. So there are various steps, means in literature to literature it differs, but for the sake of simplicity and understanding, I have selected the steps which I found easy for explanation as well as for understanding. So this is a 8-step model, at least for this presentation or this video lesson. It is an 8-step model. So what is the first step? First step is you need to identify the variables. So variables affecting the system under consideration are listed, which can be objective, actions, and individuals, etc. Means the variables which serves your objective, which is related to a particular action, or which are related to a particular individual, you need to identify the variables that give some kind of effect while making a decision. Second step is, from the variables identified in the step 1, a contextual relationship is established among the variable with respect to which a pair of variable would be examined. So once two variables are there, means like mother and father's education is there, then does that help to find the intelligent quotient of a ward? Means if this variable is there, mother and father's education, and the intelligent quotient of a student, means if you find that there is a contextual relationship among these two variable, then we need to identify, okay, if this is the relationship, then how we are going to put it. Then the third step will be to find a SSIM, that is structural self interaction matrix. It is developed by the variable which indicate a pairwise relationship among variables of the system under consideration. Means like if two variables are there, let us say I and k are the variables, then it may happen that variable I is related to k, variable k is related to I. This is first case. Second case, variable I is related to k, but k is not related to I. Second case. Third case, variable I is not related to k, but variable k is related to I. This is the third case. And the fourth case, variable I is not related to k and variable k is not related to variable I. Likewise, means grade and marks, or number of hours a particular student study and the grades he achieved, if these are the two variables. So there might be a case that we may have a situation that if he study more, he may achieve good grades, means, and to achieve good grades he study more, means both are related to each other. So this may be the example of a kind of relationship that we are going to identify, and we are going to portray it into the self interaction, structural self interaction matrix, SSIM. The fourth step is the reachability matrix. It is developed from SSIM, the structural self interaction matrix, and the matrix is checked for transitivity. So reachability matrix is like means if A is related to B, then B is related to C, then A must be related to C. So which variable is being reached or related to some other variable, that we are going to portray into the reachability matrix. Look, these two matrices are different. In reachability matrix, we will be having the Boolean values in terms of 0 and 1, and in self structural interaction model or matrix, we have the values which are in terms of V, X, O, A. Means these are the different values. Soon, after these two slides we are going to see that how that reachability matrix or structural self interaction matrix is being developed. So the first step is to identify the variable, second step is to identify the contextual relationship among this variable, third step is to form a structural self interaction matrix, fourth step is to form the reachability matrix, fifth step that the reachability matrix which we have obtained in the previous step should be partitioned into the different level. Means since we want to find a digraph must have the root node as well as the child node, or that must have a hierarchy that this is the first level, this is the second level, this is the third level, this is the fourth level, wherein we are going to place the nodes and which can give us a clear idea that which particular variable is being achieved from which variable. So this is how the fifth step deals with to partition the given matrices, to partition the reachability matrix into different level. Now sixth step is based on the relationship which given above in the reachability matrix, we find a directed graph which is drawn and the transitive links are removed. If there exists a transitive relationship, we need to add it, and while drawing the digraph we remove that transitive relationship and we will not have the dotted or dashed line, we will be having the solid line itself. Seventh step is the resultant digraph is converted into an ISM by replacing the variable nodes. Means earlier we will be using the variables a1, a2, a3, a4. Now whenever the digraph is complete, we will be putting the actual variable name so that it will be very clear for the audience to know that which variable is at which level, which variable is used for achieving which variable. So everything will be very much clear. So why in the seventh step we are going to remove the variable name or variable identifier and we will be putting the actual variable name. And eighth step, once you are done with this, it is reviewed to check for a conceptual inconsistency and necessary modifications are made. So if we want to see all the 8 steps into one part, so this is the flow of ISM. Means starting from literature of review, then identifying the list of variables related to an issue, then establishing a contextual relationship between this variable, again obtain an expert opinion, developing a structural self interaction model, develop the reachability matrix, partition the reachability matrix into different level, developing the reachability matrix in canonical form, developing a digraph, removing the transitivity, then replacing variable node by the relationship statement. Is there any conceptual inconsistency? If no, then yes, you are done with your modeling. If yes, then again go to the expert to obtain the opinion and again to find out the new kind of contextual relationship between the variables which have not been considered so far. So structural self interaction matrix. So there are 4 different type of entries into this structural self interaction matrix: V, A, X and O. So how or why we are going to develop the structural self interaction matrix? It is for analyzing the criteria. A contextual relationship of leads to is chosen here for developing contextual relationship among variable. Expert opinions based on management techniques such as brainstorming will be considered while forming the contextual relationship for expressing the relationship between different factors for coordination and responsiveness in supply chain. Means this is with respect to the supply chain. We have taken an example of supply chain, that is why the word is appearing here. Now the 4 symbols have been used to denote the direction of relationship between the parameters I and j. Here I is less than j means the variable I appears first and variable j appears next. So when we consider the structural self interaction model, matrix, this ISM suggests that the use of expert opinions shall be based on the various management techniques such as brainstorming, nominal group discussion, and for developing the contextual relationship among the variable. For this purpose, experts from industry as well as academia should be consulted for identifying the nature of contextual relationship among the factors. These experts from industry and academia should be well concerned with the problem under consideration. For analyzing the factors, a contextual relationship of leads to or influences type must be chosen. This means that one factor influences other factor. On the basis of this, contextual relationship between the identified factor is developed. Uh, Keeping in mind the contextual relationship for each factor and the existence of relationship between any two factors I and j, the associated direction of the relationship is questioned. The following four symbols are used to denote the direction of relationship between two factors I and j. If we have the symbol v, then for the relation from factor I to factor j, that is factor I will influence factor j. Another symbol is capital A. It is for the relation from factor j to factor I, that is factor I will be influenced by factor j. In previous case, in the case or in the symbol v, factor I will influence factor j, and when it comes to the symbol a, it means that factor for the relationship it will be like factor I will be influenced by factor j. If the next symbol is x, then it means that it is a both direction relationship, means factor I and j will influence each factors or each other. And finally the symbol o, it means that there is no relationship among the factors, means these two variables are not related to each other. So this is how the self interaction matrix, structural self interaction matrix is formed. So in a nutshell, means if you want to remember, then this is the only thing to remember. If we are discussing or if you found that in SSIM you found v, it means that variable I is related to k but k is not related to I, or variable I influence k but variable k doesn't influence I. K can be achieved from I but I cannot be achieved from k. Symbol A, that I is not leading to k, whereas k is leading to I. I can be achieved from k but k cannot be achieved from I. When it comes to x, it means that both the variables I and k are related to each other. I can be achieved from k, k can be achieved from I leads to k or k leads to I influence to k or k influence to I. Sorry, I is missing here. This is O. It means that the two variable doesn't have any relationship. So when we say that we are forming the structural self interaction matrix, our matrix should contain this V, A, X and O entries. Apart from that, or apart from this 4 symbol, we shall not be having any other entries into our SSIM. Please note this thing, that whenever we are going to construct the SSIM, we should not have any symbol other than VAXO. Means if you doesn't find any relationship among the two variables, you need to place O over there. Rest, your mutual consensus or your expert opinions, whatever they suggest that what variables you are going to identify, you can use all these variables and you can construct your SSIM. The next step will be to find out the reachability matrix. Now, once the SSIM is constructed, you need to convert this SSIM into a reachability matrix. Now, what this reachability matrix is? So, reachability matrix is a binary matrix. It is called as initial reachability matrix because we will be substituting that V, A, X and O by 1 and 0 as per the case, and the substitution of A, 1 and 0 will be as per the following rules which we have mentioned over here. There are 4 rules, 1, 2, 3, 4. The we have to convert this. So how we are going to convert this? So listen, you can see from here that if the ij entry means variable I across variable j entry in SSIM is V. V means I and j are related in a way that I is related to j but j is not related to I. Then in the reachability matrix the entry will become 1 means V will be replaced by 1, but at the same time the ji entry will become 0 because I is related to j but j is not related to I. And if we are dealing with V, we should be careful that the entry should be marked for I and j cross intersection but not in j and I cross intersection, right? So the entry will be marked as 1 whenever there exists a relationship between I to j but not j to I. Since j to I there doesn't exist a relationship, we need to mark 0 over there. If the ij entry in SSIM is A means that I and j doesn't have the relationship. I and j have the relationship in a way that j is related to I but I is not related to j. So in that case I across j will be equals to 0 but j across I will be equals to 1. If for the variables I and j in SSIM we found the entry as x, then it means that for I and j we will mark 1, for j and I cross section we again mark 1, means for both the places we are going to mark 1. And if for the cross section of I and j we found O, it means that the entry will become equals to 0 for both the places I cross j and j across I. So this is how we should remember that how the SSIM matrix is converted into the reachability matrix for all the 4 possibilities of V, A, X and O. You need to replace these values by either 1 or 0 as per the case. So before going to the reachability matrix, you be very sure that you have constructed the right, appropriate and closer to the exact solution or closer to the complexity of the variable of obtaining a particular relationship among the variable. All you need to take care into the SSIM matrix only, because once SSIM matrix is done, this is mere a form of converting that SSIM matrix into a Boolean matrix which consists of 0 and 1. How to replace V, A, X and O, we have learned it here. Now we need to calculate the driving power and dependence power of all the variables. So driving power is like sum of all the variables which may help to achieve the variable, and the dependence power is the total number of variables which may help in achieving it. So this driving power and dependencies will be later used in classification of variable in the 4 group of autonomous, dependent, linkage and drivers. We'll soon see in the case study. We are going to learn that how these variables are used and how that contribute while forming a digraph. So final reachability matrix, the next step. The final reachability matrix is obtained by incorporating transitivity among the variables, and the driving power of a particular factor is calculated. The dependence power for a particular variable is calculated, and on the basis of this we are going to partition that variables into autonomous, dependent, linkage and independent factors. Next is the transitivity that we need to take care of. Means whenever we are finding the reachability or the final reachability matrix, this is the thing that we should remember to replace for the replacement. Like if that we have a relationship among A2 and A1, okay, if we have relationship between A3 and A2 and then A2 to A1, then A3 across A1 we need to mark 1, because this is a transitive relation that we can identify. So whenever you are converting the reachability matrix and you are making it into the final version, then you need to identify all the transitivity which exists there among the variable, and you need to replace that transitivity relationship by 0 and 1 as usual. Okay, so here in this digraph, means this is a simple digraph that we have got, that 4 variables are considered: A1, A2, A3 and A4. A3 is achieved from A4, A2 is achieved from A3, A1 is achieved from A2. But now since A2 is achieved from A3, A3 is achieved from A4, A4 is somehow related to A2, or you can say that there is a partial influence of A4 to achieve A2. Same thing goes here, that A2 is being achieved from A3, A1 is achieved from A2, then there is a partial or somewhat influence of A3 while achieving A1. Same goes here also, that if A4 is achieved by A3 is achieved by A4, A2 is achieved by A3, A1 is achieved by A2, then definitely this A4 contributes a little or a partial into this A1. So this is how the transitivity is there, and for every transitivity relationship, if that exists into the reachability matrix, you need to make, or you need to mark that entry equals to 1 into the final reachability matrix. Then is the level partition. Now what exactly this level partition is? From the final reachability matrix, for each factor, reachability set and antecedent sets are derived. The reachability set consists of factors itself and the other factors that it may impact, whereas the antecedent set consists of factor itself and the other factors that may impact it. Thereafter, the intersection of these sets is derived for all the factors, and levels of different factors are determined. The factors for which the reachability and the intersection sets are same occupy the top level in the ISM hierarchy, means this reachability and antecedent nodes, if they achieve the intersection is same, then they occupy the top node. We'll see that how that they can be done. The top level factors are those factors which that will not lead to the other factors above their own level in the hierarchy. Once the top level factor is identified, it is removed from the consideration, and then the same process is repeated to find out the factors in the next level. So this process is continue until the level of each factor is found. So these labels help in building the digraph as an ISM model. So let us consider that this is our digraph. Now we have constructed a digraph, or we have got a reachability matrix, and from reachability matrix what we are going to do, we are going to have this kind of matrix first. Now how we are going to identify, these are the 4 levels or 4 variables with us, A1, A2, A3, A4. So we write the variable. Now what reachability set will consist of? Reachability set means, in a simple way, means if I want to quote it in a simple way, then the outgoing arrow from that particular variable. Okay, now every variable is having an arrow from itself, means A1 is having an arrow from itself, means though it is not visible, it is an assumption that a variable is reachable to himself or itself. So A1 is reachable to A1. So outgoing arrow is from A1 to A1, so it is appearing into the reachability column. Now antecedents, the incoming arrows for A1, in a simple note, means or you can say that in a ISM language or in a ISM terminology, who all variables are there which are influencing A1, or who all variables are there which are leading to A1, or who all variables are there which can impact for achieving A1. So in a simple way, we can simply say that the incoming arrows from the given variables. So how many sets are there? So since A1 is having an arrow here, that is the invisible one, so again A1 is incoming, A2's incoming arrow is there, A3's incoming arrow is there, and A4's incoming arrow there. So why this becomes the antecedent values. When it comes to A2, again A2 incoming arrow, A2's incoming arrow is from itself to itself. So why A2 is there? The outgoing arrow is to A1, means we need to identify reachability. If we are going to identify the reachability, then we just need to identify the total number of outgoing arrows from the respective variable. So this is the variable, and from this variable A2 to A2 there is an outgoing arrow, A2 to A1 there is an outgoing arrow. So why reachability is for A1, A2. When it comes to antecedents, then how many incoming arrows are there? From A2 to A2 there is an incoming arrow, from A3 there is an incoming arrow, and from A4 there is an incoming arrow. So why A2, A3, A4 appears into the antecedent node. A3 in a simplest way, that how many outgoing arrows are there. A3 to A3 is there, A3 to A2 is there, A3 to A1 is there. So why A1, A2, A3? Then antecedents A3, A4. So how many incoming arrows are there? So A3 to A3, and from A4 there is an incoming arrow. So why A3 to A4? A3 and A4. Now when it comes to A4, the number of outgoing arrows. So A4 to A4 is there, A4 to A3 is there, A4 to A2 is there, A4 to A1 is there. So this is the reachability. Now look here in this diagram, this dotted arrow shows the transitivity of the variable or transitivity among the variable, and whenever you are into the level of partition or partitioning level, you need to have a matrix, or you need to consider a thing wherein the transitivity of relationship among the variables have already been considered. Means if this step is over, you are done with the transitivity, then only you could use this partitioning level very properly, and it will help you to identify the right reachability set of nodes or set of variables, and right antecedent set of nodes and the variables. So this is how the level partition is done. Now we need to once we have done the computation of reachability and the antecedent nodes, what we need to identify? We need to identify the level. So how we can identify the level? A simple way to identify the level is that if the reachability's value and antecedent value, the intersection comes out to be same, means this is the set of reachability variables, this is the set of antecedent variable. If we make the intersection of these two sets, we are going to get the intersection as A1. If intersection and reachability value are same, then it will form level 1. Now you may observe that 2, 3, 4 variables may be having or may be sitting at the level 1. You need to consider all those variables whose reachability value and intersection value are same. If they are same at the first level, then they will be sitting at the first level. Now once we identify the first level, what we are going to do, this becomes a top level for us, and once the top level element is identified, it will be separated out from all the other elements, and the same process is repeated. Now you come to know that A1 is sitting at the level 1 or top level, you will remove A1 and you will move ahead with the next matrix. So this is how the things are done to obtain the final level partition matrix or level partitioned value. Now the critical classification of these factors, so we'll learn it into the next lecture, that I'm skipping it right now, and we will cover this part into the next level as we are having the complete example, and we'll be having the real world case study, and we can easily locate and the relevancy of all these factors into that example. So time being, I'm skipping this part here. So formation of ISM. So once you are done with the digraph, you are going to form a digraph. Now this digraph looks like this. I'm just showing you first the digraph. So final output will be like this, that this is the level 1, this is level 2, this is level 3 and level 4. The arrows which are indicated in blue are the arrows which indicates that this is the transitivity relationship. You can remove it, you can replace it by the solid arrow also. So let us consider an example, so it will be easy for all of us to understand the thing. But before going to that, let us understand the advantages of ISM. So this is the process which is systematic. Computer is or computer assisted process. This is a process which is very efficient. Depending on the context, the use of transitive inference may be reduced. The number of required relational queries is by form 50 to 80%. It means that the queries that you are going to make for the complex relationship model, it can be able to answer most of the queries, means 50 to 80% queries could be solved by looking to that particular model. It guides and records the result of a group deliberations on complex issue in an efficient and systematic manner. It produces a structural model or a graphical relationship in an original problem situation that can be communicated more effectively to others. It enhances the quality of interdisciplinary and interpersonal communication within the context of problem situation by focusing the attention of the participants on one specific question at a time. Means if you query about a particular level or a particular variable, you could be easily identifying that variable into your diagram, and you could answer the query for that particular contextual relationship or the relationship of that variable with other variables. So it encourages issue analysis by allowing participants to explore the adequacy of the proposed list of system elements or issue statements for eliminating a specific situation. So this is means it will help all the users to identify and explore the adequacy of proposed list of systems elements or issues that are means for a specific situation. It serves as learning tool by forcing participant to develop a deeper understanding of the meaning and significance of specified element list and relationship. So once you come to know that what exactly the number of variables are, what complex relationship they are sharing, you can focus or you can change your focus to the specific set of variables to identify that how much this particular variable is focusing or interpreting or leading or achieving to some other variable, or how they are complexly related to some other variable. So it permits the action or policy analysis by assisting participants in identifying particular areas for policy action which offer advantages or leverage in pursuing specific objective. So these all are the advantages of ISM, but since anything comes with a limitation, so ISM model also comes with a limitation. First limitation is that means if the number of variables are quite small or less, then it's okay. As the number of variable increases, the issues of the complexity of the relationship among the variables will also increase, and the ISM methodology may not produce the better approximate solution for that particular complex issue. So if you are having the limited set of variables, then it is okay, you can go with that. Next is the other variables which are least affecting the problem or issue may not be taken into development of ISM model. So there may be some variable which may not be taken into consideration, that this variable should be considered for being considered into ISM model, so we can skip that. So it should be done by very expert people, that this variable is not the influencing variable and we should drop it. This should be done much before or at the first step when you are forming the ISM model. And finally, this model are not statistically validated, the first thing, but since it gives a philosophical nature kind of solution, so it is not a statistically validated model. Whereas in case of structural equation modeling, we also consider a linear structural relationship approach that has the capability of testing the validity of such hypothetical model. So we can use this thing here also. So now let us go with an example. A simple and a small example is being constructed. We are having the four variables A1, A2, A3 and A4. There is no specific reason that why I have placed it in a reverse order. First thing I want to clear, it's my gut feeling. I like that because I don't want to mark this entry and it will be quite easy for me to depict the thing, so I have kept it in this way. So there is no specific reason for that. So if you find X means that both variable are related to each other, means if we consider I and K, then I is related to K is related to I influence K influence I, or I leads to K and K leads to I. So you can find that every variable is in relationship with itself by X. So if you find X over here, X A1 to A1 X is there, A2 to A2 X is there, A3 to A3 X is there, A4 to A4 X is there, means every variable is related to each other by the variable or by the symbol X. Then if you have found O over here, then it means that I doesn't relate with K but K relates with I doesn't lead K but K leads I doesn't influence K but K influence I. So why O over here, means if you find O, you can find it into three places, that A1 and A3 O is there, means A1 is not influencing A3 but A3 influence A1, right? But if you find A1, A3, A3, A1. The entry is not being mentioned over here. Just because if the entry is not there, it means that this value should again be equals to O, because we doesn't have any kind of relationship there. Next is A. So this matrix is having A. Now what A is like, either we have the relationship here from this cross should be over here. Means the cross is not over here, the cross should be here. Please accept my apology for having this wrong figure over here. So it should not be here, it should be placed at here. So I to k there should be a relationship, and k to I there shall not be a relationship. So this is the thing which is placed, or this is marked over here in this example. So 4 variables are there, and for the 4 variables the SSIM matrix is being given in this way. So now what we are going to do, we are going to convert this SSIM matrix into a reachability matrix. The reachability matrix is like this, that A1, A2, A3, A4, the variables A1, A2, A3, A4 is there. Now we have rearranged this variable A1, A2, A3, A4. Now look here, X, 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 all over X are there. So why? The diagonal element will be equals to 1, because every variable is leading to itself, or every variable will influence itself, or every variable is related to itself. So why? All ones are there. Now you just consider about O. O means no variable is into relationship with each other, means A1 is not in relationship with A4. So A1 is not in relationship with A4, so why 0? That is why A4 is not into relationship A1, so why 0? Now A1 is not in relationship with A3, so A1 is not in relationship with A3, so why here it is 0. Then A3 is not in relationship with A1, so why here it is 0. Just like that, A2 is not in relationship with A4, A2 is not in relationship with A4, A4 is not in relationship with A2, so why it is 0. Now A3, so A3 and A4 shares the variable A, so it means that what A was like A3 is in relationship with A4, but sorry, A4 is in relationship with A3, but A3 is not in relationship with A4. So here if you will see, A4 is in relationship with A3, but A3 is not in relationship with A4. That is why A is there. Just like here, A2 and A3. A3 is in relationship with A2, but A2 is not in relationship with A3. Just like that, A1 and A2. A2 is in relationship with A1, but A1 is not in relationship with A2. So this is our reachability matrix, means the second step that we can identify into ISM is the reachability matrix, or the construction of the reachability matrix. So this is the reachability matrix. Now what we need to identify? We need to identify the transitivity in this reachability matrix. Now look here, that A4 is in relationship with A3, and A3 in turn is in relationship with A2. So it means that A4 is in relationship with A2. So why? We have made an entry equals to 1 over here. Again I will tell you, look here, A4 is in relationship with A3, means this matrix indicates that 1 appears here in the cross section of A4 and A3, but in turn A3 is in relationship with A2. So by the transitivity of the relationship, we can say that A4 is in relationship with A2. So why this 0 is converted to 1 over here. Now once we are there, you just check that A3 is in relationship with A2. Likewise, A2 is in relationship with A1. So why? A3 is in relationship with A1. So why? This entry becomes 1. Now here, A4 is in relationship with A3. A3 is in relationship with A2. A2 is in relationship with A1. So why? A4 is in relationship with A1. So we need to add all this transitive link to the matrix, the reachability matrix, to get a final reachability matrix. Once a final reachability matrix is there, you can have a diagram like this, that A1, A2, A3, A4, the 4 variables, the links which are added in terms of the transitive links are shown in the dotted lines, and the one which is having a direct relationship are shown in the solid line. So label partitioning, how we can partition the label. Next step means after the reachability matrix with the transitivity links are being established and added, we need to identify, or we need to partition it into the label. So how we can partition it into the label? Just now I have explained you that you will be having 5 columns table, wherein the first column will be the variables itself, next column will be the reachability, next column will be the antecedents, next will be the intersection, and next will be the label. In the simplest way, means last time means just before this I have explained you how that can be obtained. In the simplest way, if you want to identify the reachability from this particular matrix, it's very simple, that the number of variables for this row A1 comes under reachability. Now look, A1 across A1, so reachability will be A1. For A1, how many number of ones are there into the column? A1, A2, A3, A4. So you can say it as an antecedents. Likewise, A2, A1, A2, that goes into reachability. For antecedents, 1, 2, 3, that is A2, A3, A4. So that appears into antecedents. A3, 1, 2, 3 means A1, A2, A3. So that is A1, A2, A3. And A3, A4 are into antecedents, because A3's column 1, A3 and A4, that is into antecedents. A4's row is A1, A2, A3, A4, and A4 column is A4, that is A4. So this is how this particular reachability and antecedent table is being prepared. Now you need to identify the intersection of this two sets, means one from the reachability and second from the antecedents. If you make an intersection, A1 is common. Here if you make an intersection, A2 is common. Here if you make an intersection, only A3 is common. Here if you make an intersection, only A4 is common. Now the label 1 or the top label will be a label of a variable wherein the reachability and intersection are common. So here reachability A1 and the antecedents from this set, A1 is the intersection, or A1 appears common in the both the set. So why this forms the label 1. Once you are into label 1, what you need to do, you need to remove A1 from all the next level. To form the next level, you need to remove A1, and what we are getting here, earlier A1 was there, A1 was there, A1 was there, here A1 was there. So since this level is being done, we will not be considering this for the next level. So we have removed A1 from all this. So here we get a new matrix or a new thing. So now again apply the intersection kind of thing, A2, A2. So here it is A2, here you will be getting A3, here you will be getting A4. Again, the one which is having the reachability and intersection matrix as same, we will be having it as label 2. Again, once label 2 is freezed, remove A2 from all other subsequent sets and form a new matrix. So we have removed A2 from this 2 label. So these are the 2 labels from where we have removed the A2. Now again making the intersection, you find A3 as a common part or A3 as an intersection, so why it becomes a label 3. Again for the next level or next iteration, we will remove A3, so we will get a matrix A4, and this is that A4 is reachability, A4 is antecedent, so why A4 only becomes the intersection, and A4 will sit at level number 4. So once all the labels are finished, means if you are done with all the labels, then you can say that you are now there to prepare a digraph. How we can prepare a digraph? We can prepare a digraph in a way like this, that level 1 A1 sits, level 2 A2 sits, level 3 A4 sits, level 4 A4 sits. Since we have used the variable name only and we doesn't know the actual variable, just for a sake of simple example purpose, we have this variable name only, we are not having the actual variable, so we will not be replacing that, because ISM model suggests that after you have done with the digraph, you should replace it by the actual variable name. So as if now we are not having the variables, so why we are using this. So this is how the ISM model can be used, and from this variable you can say that to achieve this particular variable, which other variables are contributing, means this is the variable which is immediate to immediate for contribution to this variable in turn can be achieved by a3, this variable in turn can be achieved by a4. So what are the lowest level of variable, what are the top level of variable, which variable are there which are combinedly making an effect? So for this example we are not having any variable which are combinedly sitting at one level, we are contributing for achieving another variable. So this is how the things are working over here. So once you are done with this, you can draw your conclusions and you can report it into your paper. So this is how the ISM model works. So if you have any query regarding to this, then do put it onto our WhatsApp group. I'll be very happy to answer you, right? So this lecture was quite lengthy. In the next lecture we are going to see the application, the real application of this ISM model into a real case study, right? Thank you very much.